Chapter 7 Satyavati and Bheeshma. The marriage of Vichitravirya with the two princesses, Ambika and Ambalika, was duly performed. The wives considered themselves to be immensely fortunate in having such a handsome, sweet-natured man for their lord. They lived a very happy life, but not for long. With Bheeshma to attend to the affairs of the state, the carefree prince spent all the time in the company of his lovely wives. Fate struck again. Young Vichitravirya was found to suffer from the dreadful disease, consumption. Not all the devotion of his people, nor the skill of the best physicians could save him from an early death. Satyavati was stunned by the calamity that had befallen her. The loss of both her sons was so terrible. But what hurt her most was the thought that the Kuru house did not have an heir. This was the fact that broke her heart. She spent hours trying to think of a way to rekindle the flame that was extinguished. She summoned Bheeshma to her presence. She said, "Look at me, son. I have now no happiness or no hope of happiness. I lost my beloved Lord. He was gathered to his forefathers. I could bear that since he had reached an old age, and he followed the rule that old men must die. Chitrangada was killed. Before that I could reconcile myself to the loss that nearly killed me, I find Vichitravirya dead. The only hope of the Kuru house has been destroyed in the flower of youth. I am desperate. The line must be continued. I have decided on the course of action. I know the way to continue the line of the Kurus. With you rests the task of making the Kuru line live again." Bheeshma was surprised. He said, "Mother, how can I, a confirmed bachelor, continue the line?" Satyavati said, "My son Vichitravirya died without leaving a son. His two wives, whom you brought for him, are still young, with their heart's desires unfulfilled. The only dharma evident to me is this: you must take them and make them mothers of the future scions of the house of Kuru. You must do this for the reason that the lineage must continue. This rule was followed by many of our ancestors. This is the only way. You must take the wives of your brother, and your sons will then be the true descendants of Kuru. It is your solemn duty to do this." Unruffled by this preposterous suggestion, Bheeshma answered her patiently. He said, "Mother, because you're overpowered by the grief and shock caused by your sudden losses, you are suggesting these things to me. There is no doubt that a rule like the one you suggest does exist. I am aware of it. Custom, too, has lent its approval to this rule. But, Mother, you asking me to follow this rule is wrong and improper. You know that I have sworn to forego the throne and married life, too. I did it for your sake, and surely you could not have forgotten that. Do you remember the terrible vow I took? I have taken an oath that in this life of mine, woman has no place. Now you suggest that I should take wives of my dead brother? You are indeed very upset by the death of our beloved Vichitravirya, else you would not have suggested this to me. I am sorry for you, Mother, but please do not ask such a thing of me." Satyavati said, "I remember the oath and the circumstances under which you took that terrible oath. I know too that you did it for the sake of your father and me. But now the circumstances have changed. Devavrata, it was because a son of mine had to be king that you took the oath, but my sons are now dead. The race threatens to die out. So as an apadharma, as a desperate cure, as a last resort, I am suggesting this course of action. You must not let the Kuru clan die out. I am your mother. It is your duty to do what pleases me. You must obey me. That is the greater dharma than all the oaths you have taken. Bhishma had his control over his temper till now, but he could not hold that back any longer. Perhaps in his mind's eye, the past events came back like a landscape reflected in a drop of dew. His mother Ganga, his happy boyhood with her in the heavens, his education first in political science from Brihaspati and Shukra, and then his learning of the Vedas and Vedangas from Vasishta. Bhishma's mind meant now to the days he spent with his guru, Bhargava, learning archery. His mother had made him learn all this because she wanted him to be a worthy son of the house of the Kurus. She wanted him to be the ideal king. She had told him that so often. His mind went to the happy days he spent with his father. 4 years of perfect companionship. They had been comrades. His father was lost in love of him, and he, in his turn, was devoted to Shantanu. Bhishma had been crowned the Yuvaraja. Then out of the air, there appeared this Satyavati. To please his father and the cupidity of his father, he gave up all that was beautiful in this world. It was then that he, young as he was, became old in a moment. Just like that. Old. Nothing seemed worthwhile since then. He conformed his life to a rigid pattern of black and white. Then came Amba, the crimson thread that shuttled in and out of the black and white fabric he had woven for himself and caused such havoc. He could not take her because he could not. He broke her heart and ruined her womanhood because of the terrible oath he had taken. He had not obeyed his guru, Bhargava, when he asked him to take Amba. And now, after all this, his stepmother commanded him to take the wives of his dead brother. All this anger unleashed as he spoke in a voice trembling with fury. He said, "Mother, you do not know the strength of my mind. You do not know the firmness of my dharma. You do not know me at all. Nothing will make me do what you command me to do. The earth may lose her perfume. Water may lose the sweetness that is part of her. The sun may lose its brilliance, or the moon her snowy coolness. Lord Dharma may abandon his dharma, but I will not swerve from the path of truth. Truth to me is greater than all the promised rewards of heaven. The world may end, but not the strength of my mind. Nothing can move me, not even you with your power over me as my mother. I have once dared to defy my guru for the sake of this oath. I will not be moved by your words. Please desist from this foolish attempt." With that, we come to the end of chapter 7 of the conversation between Satyavati and Bhishma. Stay tuned for the next episode, The Advent of Vyasa, on Storytime with Rajesh. This is me, Rajesh, signing off.